the reality of spiritual warfare. The truth is, there's always going to be that battle. And that battle is internal conflict. And only you are the one that allows that to happen. It can conjure up and can come up any way, anytime, however it pleases. But understand that that derives from the root and the thoughts of your mind. It's those thoughts that you go through. That's where that comes from. And those thoughts have an attachment to those feelings that come up with it as well. So if you feel a certain way, and I'm not saying about something specifically, but just in general, generally speaking, if you have certain feelings and emotions about the way that you are as a person, the way that you feel that you are as a person, and if you feel like that's negative in any way, then the negativity will conjure up thoughts. The negativity of those feelings will spawn thoughts in your head that create a negative loop. And then that's where the spiritual warfare comes from. That's where the internal conflict comes from. That internal warfare that you have with yourself. That battle that you have, that you feel in your heart, that you feel in your mind and your soul. That conflict that you have with no one else but yourself. That's where that comes from. It's those thoughts and the feelings attached to those thoughts. And you have to understand that you are the one that lets that happen. Because it's no one else. How could it be anyone else? Unless you are the one that's letting other people influence the way that you are, then it has to be you. And even then, you can't blame anyone else, because you're the one that's letting other people influence the way that you think. And most of the time, it's people that don't matter. Because if it is the people that matter, then you need to relay that message to them. That if they really care about you, and they care for your well-being, they care for the way that you are at the end of the day, if they truly love the person that you are, and you actually care about them, then they shouldn't be the one that's bringing the negativity onto your life. They shouldn't be the one that's being negative towards you. And if they are, ask yourself, are these people, or is this a person that you want to be around? Is this a person that you want to continue to have in your life? Because ultimately you want peace, right? You want happiness. You want to be okay. You want that internal peace. You want that conscious, present, internal, inner peace. And the only way you get that is not to have people that are going to bring and influence you to have negative feelings. That's not the only way. The other way is you. You can't allow that to happen. Because you're so much more worth it. And you have to respect yourself enough to not let anything or anybody bring you any type of negative energy or negativity to your life. And people can say whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. But the thing is, you have to put a filter through what people say to you or how people make you feel. You have to create a filter for yourself. Because just what people say, right? Just because somebody says something, does something that is not the truth, you don't have to interpret it. You don't have to interpret what they say as the truth just because they said it. And you also don't have to interpret it as a false narrative just because they said it. It just is what it is if they said it. But that filter, that's the filter you need to have. Just because somebody said it doesn't mean it's true or it's false. It just is what it is. And you take that for what it is. And then that's it. You don't have to attach a feeling. You don't have to attach a certain emotion or certain thoughts to any kind of message that comes through from the outside world. It doesn't have to be that way. But understand that whatever you allow to happen, whatever you allow to come into your inner peace, whatever you allow to enter your life, whether it's good or bad, is ultimately up to you, and that's your choice. But I want you to understand how much of a brilliant and resilient kind of person that you are. And you have a beautiful soul. You have a soul, you have a spirit that's worth the respect that you deserve. And it's okay if you're going through some type of battle. Life is never going to be easy. There might always be a fight going on. But understand that that's temporary, not something that you can get over. And the best way to overcome these battles that you might be going through, the best way to diminish or get rid of any type of conflict internally is to get to the root of the problem. You need to find the source of the problem. Do yourself that favor so that you can break it down and analyze it. Understand specifically where that's coming from. Because if you don't know, then you just might not be going about it the right way. The fact that you don't know means that something's not right. The fact that you don't know means you actually need to get to the bottom of what you don't know, especially if it's about you. Because only you know yourself the best. You know yourself the best. You're the only one that can delegate and can navigate your life. So realize that you have to get to the source of the problem. And then once you do get to the source, understand why it is the source. Figure out its origin and where that source derived from, where that source originated, where it started, where it came from. And try to be okay with where it came from. Be okay with the feelings attached to that. Be okay with the feelings attached to the origin of that internal conflict, because you have to be. For you to let feelings and emotions be attached to the origins of your problem, of whatever kind of struggle you're going through, will ultimately be your downfall. Because you just let it sit there. Instead of trying to embrace it and accept it, you let it sit there over time. And then what does it do? It starts to build up because you're not dealing with it. You're trying to suppress it. You're actually trying to fight it. If you're not embracing it, if you're not accepting it, if you're not trying to do something about it, that it will just sit there because it doesn't go away. As much as you want to think that it does because you're trying to suppress it or you're not trying to think about it anymore. As much as you think that might be a solution for you, understand that you're just making it worse for yourself. Because one way or another, sometime or another, it's going to come back up. And it might be triggered by something that you never knew was going to happen. Something might trigger it for that to be allowed to come back up. And you might not even be ready to deal with it at that point because you never gave yourself the chance to want to deal with it. Instead, you were suppressing it and just fighting it off the whole time, not trying to think about that one particular thing or particular things. What you need to do is be conscious of what these problems are, understand where they're coming from, understand why they're there, understand why you let them be there, and be a person, respect yourself enough and be strong enough because you are, to just accept it fully and to let it pass, to let it go through you. The thing is, you have to experience whatever this conflict or these conflicts are in your life. You have to experience it for you to fully go through that experience and let it pass on, for you to be okay at the other side. Because if you don't, I promise it might be the smallest piece that gets left over, even if you think you dealt with it, knowing that you really didn't want to, because your intention was just to let it sit there. But when your intention is right, when your intention is pure, and when your intention is to truly let it pass over and let it be something of the past, that's when you win. That's when it's over. That's when you can move on. And then life just gets so much better for you because you allowed that to happen and because you wanted it. Everything I just said is simple, not easy. Love y'all, man. Peace, y'all.